So, hello and welcome back to the Journey Beyond Yourself Summit. I am delighted and honored to have the amazing Misa Hopkins with us today. Misa has so much wisdom to share and so much experience that I am just delighted and really excited for this chat. Let me tell you a little bit about Misa before we bring her on. So Misa Hopkins has been a pioneer in the field of feminine consciousness and healing for over 20 years. You're a 5 times best-selling author, I know, Misa. You've made multiple television appearances and spoken at events alongside people such as Dr. Bruce Lipton, Dr. Larry Dossey, Deborah Poneman, and Ariel Ford, amongst others. Misa is featured in the soon-to-be-released documentary, The Spark. So that's very exciting. And I wonder if we can get a little prequel about how that's going to be. I'm excited to see that. Her powerful mystical initiations in both feminine and masculine sacred energies inspire her to further personal and planetary healing through balanced consciousness. Misa's popular She Academy helps women worldwide use feminine empowerment principles to heal, awaken, create fulfilling relationships, and unleash their destinies. Most of all, Misa believes in each person's innate ability to heal and awaken into the life of their dreams. So, Lisa, it's Misa. I'm gonna keep doing that because when we first met, I said to Misa, "Is it Misa or Misa?" And she said, "It's Misa like Lisa." But now that's wired together in my brain, so I apologize, Misa.
No worries.
Welcome.
Well, I'm so excited to be here. There we go. I think we can hear each other now. It's really awesome to be here. And don't worry, whatever you call me, I will answer to it. So we're good.
Very gracious of you. Thank you so much. So there's so much I want to get into with you. And I need a day with you really to spend so much time in your wisdom and experience. But I'd love to start off for those of us who haven't been fortunate to cross paths with you yet, to tell us a little about you. And I know you had your personal journey. So how did you get involved in the amazing work that you did? What's kind of the origin story?
Yeah, it all began many, many years ago, standing in front of a mirror, as we women do, getting ready to go out. And at the time, Sally, my face was all broken out. My body was in pain. I felt awful. I was 28 years old. You're supposed to be past all that. And I'd been struggling for 7 years, seeing doctors, no diagnosis. And I remember just being in tears and saying to the woman in the mirror, "I don't know how, but we are going through this. We are going to heal." And got out in the car with a friend to go shopping together. And she started telling me about my symptoms, which was shocking to me. And she said, "It's a hormonal imbalance, and I know a doctor that can help you." And that really was the beginning of a tremendous, tremendous journey, not only with this amazing doctor, but also with my therapist, with women in retreats, deep circle work with women, lots of deep mystical exploration. What the doctor discovered was that I had been producing as much testosterone as a teenage boy. So my organs were literally atrophying and I was becoming male. And that led me into a question, and questions are so fundamental to healing and to mystical awakening. And my question was, why has my body broken faith with my femininity? What happened for me? And it led me into a deep, deep emotional, spiritual healing journey with some amazing, amazing women. And after I had done a lot of the emotional healing work, I had a vision. And in the vision, I was clearly shown and told that I had been sexually abused as a child. And what I came to understand was that in that moment, I decided it was safer to be a man than it was to be a woman. So at the point in my life when I'm thinking about bringing children into the world, that was the ultimate being a woman, right, expression, and my body shut down. So that connection between what happens in our little brains in the moment of trauma and how that trauma plays out over and over and over until the moment that it's time to heal, and then how that healing ultimately becomes our journey of awakening, was hardwired for me at about the age of 4 or 5. And I've been journeying ever since then into the depths of feminine and masculine consciousness, understanding their similarities and differences, and holding space not only for my own awakening, but opening to hold space for others to do the same.
Wow, what an amazing story, and what an amazing evidence for you at such a young age, the power of the brain body connection and the power of having a trauma and then your body literally changing hormonally, physiologically. So how did you obviously found this amazing doctor to help you in kind of the hormonal realm, but you must have then dove deeply into the mental side of it. How did you deal with the trauma from that side? Was it together, or did you do it quite separately, get your hormones in line and then start to uncover that side, or how did that transpire?
That's a great question. All at the same time, all of it. I knew that my doctor wasn't going to be able to answer that question for me. And in fact, Sally, I went back to him after 7 years of therapy when my hormones were finally able to hold their own, and said, I want you to know this because I want you to know my story,
Mm,
so that you know, as other women come to you, that there may be some physical, emotional trauma associated with the hormonal imbalances that they are experiencing. And just as I had come to know him to be, he listened with a very open mind to what I brought to him. But I started working with a therapist immediately. I had the pleasure of sitting in circle multiple times with Judith Dirk. For those that know women's work, she has been in the forefront of women's circles and very, very deep, deep processing in what I later discovered are very indigenous ways of being in circle together and going into deep presence to
mm,
oneself and to one's community. And it was really through those kinds of experiences and sitting with women in circle on a regular basis that I began to find my truth and who I
mm,
really was beyond the woman who had been abused.
mm, mm. Yes, and I'm what's come to me now is um it's harsh and it's heartbreaking, but I can only imagine that once you start to open yourself up and then find help, that I'm guessing, but you start to realize how prevalent women with trauma are in society, and sitting with it without being able to open and express it. Did you find that?
I did. I was absolutely shocked at how many women, what the numbers were. In fact, I volunteered for a sexual assault coalition to go in and help with some of their marketing, how prevalent it is. I mean, we know that it's somewhere between 25 to 30% of the women in the US, and those figures are pretty close worldwide. So we're talking about a lot of women that have experienced some kind of sexual trauma, and we frequently experience it before the age of 4, when our memories aren't going to remember exactly we aren't going to remember exactly what's happened, right? We tend to repress those memories, but it often sets up future abuses that we don't understand. It's the date rape and the sexual harassment, other kinds of things that seem totally weird to us. Why do other women not have those experiences and we do? That became a question that I frequently was asking. Why am I having these bizarre experiences in my life with other individuals? And it became really, really clear with the vision of the abuse. And the gift was that I didn't have that vision until I had really done a huge body of work. It was actually very light and gentle and easy to cope with once I got there. And many, many women report that. In
Mm,
fact, it's an area that I have so much deep passion for, in working with people that I did a summit about a year ago, just a little over a year ago. Brought in Laura Davis, who wrote The Courage to Heal, really seminal work in terms of how we as women heal, cutting edge kinds of insights, and a number of people who had been abused and talked about how they recovered. And then we held that space for other women to come and be held in that container. So very, very powerful. It really was the mystical experiences, though, that turned everything around for me.
Well, let's go there. It's one of
Let's
my
go into the
favorite
mystical
topics.
stuff. Yeah. Well, I was really fortunate. I was on a cruise with about 300 mystics and healers and psychics, if you can imagine, in Egypt, going up the Nile River. And with that kind of energy and the energy of the land of Egypt itself and the history, people were having all kinds of awakening experiences. And one of the experiences I had that changed my entire life was being yin energy for about 24 hours. Total yin, space, silence, stillness, what I refer to now as the primordial womb of all life.
Wow.
Complete love that holds everything that ever was, could be, will be. Every potential exists in that space. And it was such a profound love, powerful love to experience. When I got home, I had another experience in which it was pure white light for about an hour, and just ecstatic, blissful light. So within very short order, my consciousness opened up two experiences, one in deep yin and one in profound yang. And those energies are, once you have them, they're always there. They never really go away. They are your memory of self. And that has become cornerstone to my work, since my body knows what it is to be fully feminine and what it means to be moving into masculine energy. Things taste different, they look different. My thinking processes were different as I was moving into male energy. And then the mystical experience of these two energies has given me a rather, I won't say unique, but certainly my perspective of what yin and yang balance means.
You
And when we're in one energy or in another, I was able to go into corporations as a consultant, and I could tell whether they were yin leaning or yang leaning businesses,
mm, mm,
just because that energy was familiar to me. So we, in this period that we're in right now, as we're awakening feminine consciousness on the planet, it's such an amazing time for us to really deepen into what yin energy is and how it serves us in our personal lives and how it serves us collectively.
yeah. Wow. So I'm sorry to briefly interrupt you there. I was just taken with how it wasn't just a deep knowing and intellectual understanding for you that you came to this conclusion. You had an experience. You were yin, and then you were yang, and then when you have that experience and that was your being, I completely get that now you know what that is at a deeper level than we can talk about and we can understand. You've had the experience of it, which is a familiar theme with mystical experience, isn't it? You can only go so far to describe them to other people. It's having that experience. So I can get that conceptually, that understanding. And now that when you're with people that you'd intuitively know because you recognize it, your body recognizes what that energy is. Now you have the words for it too. Profound. And so, yes, and this is very interesting times, isn't it? So you have been working in this area for over 20 years. But this must be fascinating to you because there is a movement, isn't there? And right now, in Australia, there's a huge movement at the moment. Women are rising up, and I know that's worldwide, but they're rising out, they're speaking up, they're saying enough. There's marching on the streets, enough. We've had enough of being treated. There's this real surge. I'd love to get your perspective on, more on what's happening and how you see that playing out. Is it just the stuff coming out that needs to be healed, and how do you see that going? Where are we just now in the greater picture?
It's really a powerful moment, and especially for me, because I was teaching yin yang consciousness and in businesses and with individuals before it was popular to do so. So seeing this rising is absolutely exciting. It's very much, I think we as women are very much in a yang expression. That willingness to give voice to injustice, to say enough of the sexual abuse, enough of the repression, enough of the being treated as second-class citizens, enough of the unequal pay, enough, on and on goes the list, is really a yang expression. It's setting a boundary, and it needs to be done because that is the container. That's what makes it safe for us to be able to go into our yin energy deeply. And that we can see in the most beautiful places. I see it with men and women. The consciousness, for example, that we're bringing into business, the willingness to actually meditate.
Yes.
That we consider that a valid response. The fact that we're talking about emotional intelligence.
Yes.
The fact that we are willing to sit down and what I call engage in deep listening. That it isn't just about what I have to say. I'm just as interested in what you have to say, what your experiences are, and really knowing you and getting you at the deepest level that I can. If I can hold you at the deepest level, then I've engaged my yin energy. And that's where we find amazing cohesion. That's where we find solutions we never thought we could find to some of our most significant problems. And I've learned this in sitting in talking circles, women's circles, indigenous circles for many, many, many years as a participant and as a facilitator of traditional circles, that when we get still, when we hold without judgment, we transform lives. Because then we're all safe enough to go into our deeper truths. And that's where the answers lie to every problem we have on the planet right now. They already exist within us. They're in our consciousness. The key is to get still enough to listen and respectful enough as a community to receive them. Then take that yang energy and get behind them.
Yes, so powerful. And in doing that, we have to, as you referred to earlier, find the courage to do so, because it takes a great deal of courage, doesn't it? It's much easier to repress until there's a crisis, and then it comes out in perhaps some way that we didn't intend, or it's not healthy, or we have a dis-ease within the body. And I love when you say yes, within the corporate space. So when I just reminded me, when I was first trained in Dr. Joe Dispenza's corporate work, 2014, we were told not to say meditation, but to say mental rehearsal. And now we're here, and we can meditation within the boardroom is much more readily accepted. So yes, just seeing those shifts in a few years, I can only imagine how excited you are, and how very knowing you're in the right time and the right place you are now, because your work is here at the forefront, right? So it's amazing. I'd love to get into some hopefully now everyone has a good sense of your wisdom and your journey to get there. And I'd love to, if we can, get into some practical, how can people use this? What can we do? So perhaps you could talk a little, I know that you go in depth with this. I'm not expecting you to take us through your programs in a half an hour, but if you could talk a little bit about, and perhaps it happened within your journey, you sat in circles, you went on your various modalities of healing physically, mentally, in therapy, the mystical experiences. Question, was there a point that you knew this is this is a modality, like a practical tool to use to help or to integrate the yin and yang that you knew then you could bring to others? Because you went on to write your books, and I know your amazing book, The Root of All Healing. Did that come out of a specific experience, or did you sit down to then, you know, get all of your collective wisdom on the pages? I'd love to sort of know how you shifted, I suppose, from having experiences that led you to healing yourself to realizing that you could bring this wisdom practically to others to help them heal, and what specifically the things are, if that makes sense.
It does entirely. There were two key moments, and thank you for asking that. Two key moments with my book. I discovered I don't usually use the term shamanic because it's not done in the native tradition I was tutored in, I studied in, but just to help people understand what I'm talking about, it's a word that's commonly used. Through the shamanic practices that I had, I discovered that I had MS. So I was having all these weird symptoms, and I said, all right, listen, either it has to show up in my dream tonight, or tomorrow I'm booking an appointment with the doctor. So could we just get to it, please? And boom, clear as day, MS. Oh, okay. And I'd done enough healing work by then, and seen enough miracles, and quote miracles, big quotes, natural healing occur, that I wasn't scared. It was just, oh, well, okay, I need to get busy. And really open to what healing was going to be for me. And I remember at one point hearing very, very clearly, write this down. You won't remember what you did. Write it down. And so as I was healing, I was writing down the steps I was taking. When I got to the other side and received the dream that told me I had healed it, then I wrote the book.
Right.
And these are the steps that were given to me. So I worked with that material for quite a while, and then was taken into a visionary state in which I was shown over a period of time. I'm condensing multiple visions now really into one. I was shown that I had been part of a tribe for many, many lifetimes, in which the women were committed to shedding their limited bodies to become their limitless selves. And they had found this amazing confluence of going in the yin doorway to allow the light and sound of their being, the yang expression, to arise. And with that, there's a fundamental meditation that is in all of the journeys, all of the ceremonies, all of the practices, this core meditation that begins the process that we call the holding. And it is taking whatever we are experiencing in the moment into the womb of creation, and being in loving presence to what is there, without judgment and without any attempt to fix anything. So that holding practice became foundational in my work, and I began to then share that with other women and train them in being able to take others into a practice of this yin energy of holding. And we've watched primarily women, my husband too, who has become quite adept at holding, just awaken. Healing and awakening are not separate journeys. They're the same journey. I'm sure that's been a part of your work too. They're the same journey. And so whatever we're healing in the moment, the practice begins in being present to the pain that you're carrying, or the concern that you have, or the worry, or the doubt, or whatever, or the desire that you have, and allowing the discomforts to unravel, and that pure expression of joy and bliss and your true healing potential to open within you. And that's what I've been teaching now for many, many years. That's the core of the She Academy that I created, is walking women through the practices that I remembered and were re-given, you might say, to me from my ancestors, so that we can claim them, use them, awaken with them.
Yes. So I'm drawn to put you on the spot And
Okay.
ask, and it's okay if it's not appropriate, and it might not be appropriate because obviously we're not sitting in circle, and we don't want to put people into a state where we're not with them, and we're leaving them. But if there is a an experience of a beginning, even of a meditation practice that people could then take and sit with when they have time watching the recording, or would you be open? I'm putting Misa on the spot, I haven't asked this before, but would you be open to guiding us into some kind of practice, no matter how, little, or however you feel drawn to do that, or is that appropriate here?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Sally. I often walk people through the holding. The holding is really an outline for how to be with yourself. And so I've recorded many, many versions of it and made it available to women. I make it available to women for free. We have tens of thousands of people around the planet using it now. So, and getting results with it.
Yes.
It's more than a sweet meditation, as I'm sure you know, when you really get in there and go into those deeper places, they're transforming you.
Yes.
Absolutely transforming you. We have a woman who ended 15 years of chronic genetic depression using the meditation every day for 90 days. She called me and said, "It's gone. I watched it leave my consciousness. I watched it leave." And I said, "Bravo." 3 years later, we're sitting on my patio and she said, "Do you remember the day I called you?" And I said, "Sure." She said, "Do you know it's never come back?"
Well, it's gone. Once it's gone, it's gone. Yes, tell us some more of those stories. I love, because I know that you and I live in this world because we've seen it with our own eyes, where healing, as you beautifully said before, is a miracle. But it's the norm now. It's our norm. We know that this is possible and it can be normal. But I know that we sit. Not everybody thinks that it's miracles. So I tell us more to help immerse ourselves in what's possible.
Well, I had a profound experience with it. I started holding when I found out I had cancer, ovarian cancer. My body has given me lots of challenges to work through in this life. So there we go. I'm sensitive and I get to do this work. And it was holding along with the sound medicine that I do
Yes.
that finally it just dissolved. It was gone. It was done. Um, I had a student who was in our SHE program. She had been diagnosed with COVID and she was having a really hard time healing it. This was not one of those, "Oh, I'm done in a week or two." This was months with some
Mm.
pretty painful symptoms. And she used it to go in deep to see what was blocking the healing and what the potential was. Where's the juice? Where's the excitement that for life? Right, that opens the doorway. She did the work that the holding allows you to do, and she did recover totally from COVID,
Yes. Yeah.
completely. So those are the kinds of things that we want to see. I have a woman who, some women will really connect with this. She was adopted, Sally, and she had never known what it was like to feel wanted by her mother. This is fundamental, by the way. To feel wanted is how you feel wanted to be able to bring in a partner. It's how you feel wanted to be able to go into career paths that are meaningful to you. Feeling wanted is also, the other side of it is to know that what you want comes into your life, right? So that you can receive what you want to manifest. So fundamental energy that you've got to know to create. Didn't know what it felt like,
Yeah.
had never felt it before in this lifetime. So she used the holding in the way that I recommended it. And we did some mentoring. She let me be present to her in the process. And I got an email one day that said, "Misa, I know what it feels like to be wanted." Oh, it just still gives me chills to this
Yeah,
day. Her whole world opened up.
yeah, of course. Yes.
I've had students come back and say, "I never felt love from my family. I always felt like the black sheep. I always felt not good enough, like I didn't belong."
Mm.
And work with this process and come back to class and say, "I actually felt love from my family."
Yeah.
I know now they had been loving me all along,
Yeah.
but I didn't know how to let it in because it wasn't the way I love. So everything from physical healing, deep emotional transformation, lifelong wounds, gone. And when say gone, I mean gone. I've taken an issue, emotional, spiritual issue I'd had all my life, took it into the meditation for 30 days. And this time I was on the phone saying, I saw it, I watched it leave, it's gone, it's gone. And my friend very kindly said to me, that's awesome, Misa, what was it? And I went, I don't know.
Because it's gone now. It's not in you anymore. Yeah.
So far gone from consciousness, it just wasn't there. To manifesting, we've had women manifest. I have a woman that just manifested her dream home using this process. A woman who manifested 3 jobs for her husband in 1 week by using the process of holding. And I could go on and on, but
Yes, I know.
it gives you an idea of what we're seeing. And that's what's exciting, that women's lives and men's lives are changing.
Yes, and it has to be both, doesn't it? Because it's all about the balance.
Mhm.
So when we are whole, that expands to those around us. You know, it has repercussions, doesn't it? So personal transformation, I kind of see it as it's essential for us to reach our true, our true potential and our true essence. But it's also essential for those around us, those in our families, those who we just touch everybody, because at some level we're all connected, right? We're all one, and so
Well,
when we
exactly.
transform, we're helping others.
And one of the things I love about the practice as I received it, Sally, is that, especially for us as women, we can, as we all know, we talk about it, is that we tend to be codependent. We tend to be other focused, raising children, taking care of our families. We can get very involved with other. And if we're not careful, we slip into fixing. And that's where we get into trouble. And this practice gives you a whole different way of being with the people that you love without ever interfering, supporting without ever interfering. And it takes care of that codependent urge that comes up. You have a different way to be with your care for those you love, and
Mm,
it's far more effective.
mm. Yeah, so important and so timely. I just feel it's so timely. This is our time. So I would love it if you would be so gracious to give us a taste. But before we do, because I know I'll have limited words after, tell us a bit about the spark.
Oh, the Spark documentary. Oh my gosh, my lovely friend Stephanie James, who is the host of the Spark radio program, and I'd interviewed with her. She's been interviewing luminaries all over the world. You'd recognize a number of their names, and she's just a love. And excuse me, this is the perfect question, Sally, because Stephanie was doing the holding meditation, and another one of the gifts is it opens
Yeah.
opens consciousness, right? So she gets this download of doing a docuseries or documentary, excuse me, about how many of the people, or I shouldn't say about how, what it really is that she's featuring individuals and their stories to help us all understand that nobody comes here with everything all wired. We all have our challenges and our struggles, including the great luminaries on the planet,
Mm-hmm.
all of us do. And so she called together a group that she felt would be willing to really share our deeper stories, and invited us to come together in roundtable to talk, to share candidly about our weakest moments and our strongest moments, and present it on stage. And then she filmed it.
Wow.
And so, I mean, it was just wonderful. I got to meet Dr. Larry Dossi, his wife, Barbie, who are awesome, awesome people. George and Sedina Capanelli, they're winners of Telly Awards. They've got a fabulous ageless living program on PBS with, you know, Dr. Bruce Lipton and Lynn Twist, and on, many, many of the great individuals who have been illuminating our planet, and many, many more beloved people who have had these stories like mine, right? It was ragged, it was rough. I remember being suicidal, I remember being hopelessly depressed, all of it. And that becomes at some point a past life
Mhm,
that
mhm,
you've gone on, and that we all can do it.
mm,
And that it's that dedication, that willingness to allow another to be your inspiration,
mm,
to allow another to hold space for you, to
mm.
be sparked, as you would say, to be sparked, to become your very best and live your very best life. So it's a powerful invitation, and you get to hear some of these incredible stories of people who have walked some hard roads.
Yes, and overcome and
Mhm.
found their spark. And then, I see it as found their wisdom then, because they've trodden the path, and it's become not just an emotional memory, but wisdom then when you've superseded it, when you've
Exactly.
transformed from it. Yeah.
Exactly. And you hear how individuals have gone from those moments of stress and crisis into moments of awakening,
Mm.
and how then there's, at any point really, there's this urge to share what you know
Mm. To help
and
others.
hold that space for others. And that's the great circle. That's the great hoop of
It
life.
is, because once you taste when you were talking about that experience of that yin and just that pure love,
Mhm.
once you taste that and you know it's there and it's always there, and you're full with it, all you want to do is have others experience that too.
That's
That's all you
right.
want to do, because you want it for them, but you also want to be able to have them understand it. So you want to share it, and that is the beauty, isn't it? We think it's about ourselves, but it's not. It's about helping others. Yeah.
And that we're great adventurers, really. There's always some unknown depth of love that we haven't experienced yet, like my
Mhm.
gal who never knew what it was like to feel wanted.
Yes.
That's an experience of love that wasn't in her memory
Yeah.
in this lifetime. She had to find it
Yeah.
in her soul and say, "Oh, I
Yeah.
know that too.
Yeah.
How beautiful."
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
And we hold that space for each other.
yes, and hearing these stories, when you're in those depths of despair, you can't see the light often. When you're in the hole, you can't see the light, but you need to kind of, those stories of other people getting out might just be the thing to help you lift up your head and then see that glint that you can aim for, instead of just no way out. So I think it is really important that we hear these stories, because if somebody can overcome, we all can.
Mhm.
Yeah. And we all have pain, don't we? We all have pain, within our lives. We will experience some degree of pain, and we can all transmute that pain into a greater wisdom, and therefore heal ourselves and others, and essentially the greater whole. Yeah, I'm excited to see the spark. I'm sure you'll send us details when you can. And of course, we're going to have all your details here for people who want to join the She program and, access these meditations and learn more. We'll have it all here on the page. But do you want to lead us into a little experience, a
Let's do
Misa
it.
experience?
All right, let's do it.
Thank you.
Hmm. I invite you to sit comfortably at ease in your body and to breathe into the space that you are. Aware of the inhale and the exhale, and also the sliver of space in between. That sliver of space carries you into your yin energy. Invite yourself to remember a moment now when you felt love, any kind of love, joy, laughter, romantic love, kindness, a sweet, tender moment. It might be with another person, an animal. It could be a flower, a sunset. Any moment in which you felt loved or loved for, or both. Notice that the love, as you are present to it, and the space are truly one. Allow this spacious love to anchor in your energetic womb space. All women, all men have this space inside them. Even if you've had a hysterectomy, that energetic space lives inside you still. This womb space connects you to the primordial womb of all life, the space from which we have all come. Allow your imagination to bring you whatever you need to enter into this cool, dark, still womb space. We call it space, home to stars, planets, suns, so many celestial beings, and home to you. In this space, in this stillness, you are loved exactly as you are. There's nothing you can do to earn this love or to push it away. The love exists as you exist. Allow yourself to notice what you are feeling right now. Allow it to be held in love as this great womb holds all that is, all that ever could be, was, is, will be. Holds it all in its suchness with great abiding, limitless love. And holds whatever you are feeling in this same love. Allow yourself to breathe into that love and go deeper into love than you have ever been before. Still aware of what you are feeling, and deeper into love, expanding into love, a love that can hold it all. Here inside this feeling is knowledge and wisdom from your youth, from previous lives, from being human. This feeling is a doorway to greater love, a calling to greater love. If what you are feeling is at all uncomfortable, notice that as you go deeper into love, it begins to unravel and unwind. If what you are feeling is pleasant, it expands. All emotions long to be loved. All emotions are doorways to awakening. You might be noticing as difficult feeling unwinds, as more pleasant feelings expand, that you can see, sense, hear, feel, know the light, the sound of you, your I am of this moment. Your awareness might come as a word or a thought, a vision, a sound, a feeling, a knowingness, a smell, a taste. Let your inner gifts awaken. Let them touch you to your core. This I am that you are. See, sense, know, hear, feel yourself, bringing this I am into form in your life, as action in your life. With this awareness of your I am, born from the depths of your stillness, your receptivity, and your love, born into form and eventually into action, your yang expression of your light and sound. With this awareness, I invite you to take 3 breaths and anchor this into your bones so that it becomes real. It's what we've come here for. So take a big inhale through your nose with me and blow into your body, into your bones, the awareness of this I am. Notice that the air around you has a temperature, a texture, maybe a scent and a sound. Next breath coming further in, big inhale and blow right into your bones, feeling your flesh alive with this I am. Notice that you are sitting against something solid. And with this next breath, we're coming all the way back in, bringing it home. Big inhale, blow. This next step is very important. Stretch, wiggle. Make sure you can feel your body. When you can feel your body, then very gently open your eyes and live the I am that you are. Oh, Sally, you really expand. Yummy.
Oh, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. And I'm glad it was at the end of our interview. And I hope everybody watching can find the time to find a space in their lives to really embrace all that you've just offered us. Thank you. Thank you so much. That was really beautiful and really powerful.
My honor.
Yes. So thank you for those gifts. And thank you for joining us here. And thank you for all you do in the world and all you've been doing and all you continue to do for all of us everywhere. I strongly recommend everybody looks into your She Academy and your books and your work further. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
My honor. Thank you so much for inviting me and for all the beautiful people that are here with us, listening and meditating with us. What a delight.
Thank you, Misa. We will speak soon. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
All the best.